Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was popping. It's your boy K Trades, aka OK Bet. Y'all know what's going on, man. So, yeah, pretty much same old shit, same old levels. Nothing really crazy happened today. Caught a nice little 80% move off the bottom off that lower day off our 731 level. But other than that, that's really about it. We caught a little end of day puts, but slept most of the day trying to get my rest, man. Just haven't been the best. Haven't been feeling the best lately, so you gotta get rest, man. You gotta take care of your mental and your physical, So yeah, other than that, man, let's get into the game plan, see what's going on, see what happened, and see how we can keep making some good manyanski. All right, so first off, right, let me turn the music down. I ain't trying to get copywritten. But all right, first things first, of course, right? We're still in this channel, right? Which I spoke on. I said, hey, as long as we're in this, if we never break out, you just gotta kind of let it. You can play inside the channel, of course, right? You can play shorts at resistance, or you can just what I do personally. I just always go calls at support, right? Calls at support. It's been the easiest, right? We did catch puts on that last Friday, but other than that, calls at support has been easier because why? We're in a bull market, right? So it's easier for me. Not to say that you can't. Obviously, you can. You catch bangers going short, of course. But for my personal risk management, right, I like playing calls at oversold levels. It's a little easier that way for me. I don't have to like literally today. So I slept in, so I missed this. I didn't pay anything for the dump, but I bought one DTE calls on the first on when I got my alert. Right, bought one DTE calls. By the time I kind of rolled over, sleepy eye, checked my phone. All right, we really ain't went nowhere. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's just the same as this over here, right? Same exact pattern. Dump, recover. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, who am I to fight the trend? Who am I to be like, nah, it ain't gonna work this time? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just do the same thing, right? So I bought it. So when I woke up, we had already came back, I think, here to the bottom of this range, the pre-market range. So I grabbed some 0DTs. I said, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna grab some 738 0DTs. Boom, grabbed the 738 0DTs, and those ended up going almost 100%. So I think I sold most at 90%. So either way, still a nice play. So and then we had the little rejection, right? It didn't hold. So we tried to see if we can catch this here. Get a little breakout retest, didn't happen. So we sold a little small 50% loss there. And really just chilled. We call it the end of the day, but other than that, that's pretty much it. All right, so overall, big game plan. Let's get into it, right? What everybody wants to know. What are we doing? Why are we chopping? What's going on, right? So remember, we do have NVDA earnings, right? That's one. Two, we have been going absolutely bonkers for a long time, right? Remember, look, the last time we went sideways, this was true sideways action, right? This one was a little more difficult at first, but it still was easier to trade, right? Puts at resistance, calls at oversold dips. So pretty, when you identify you're in a range, you always have to be more patient. And I personally like to go a little lighter just because, until we break, I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, we're back up. This is the one that's going to break. And then it doesn't break. And then you went heavy for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still playing, normal size. I'm not going too crazy because, like I said, we're still in this selling channel, right? And this is controlled selling. This is not a dump. This is just a pull back into your 20-day moving average, which will probably be over here in the next day or two, right? So for us, we don't want to be the person that's just aggressively shorting, holding shorts all day. You play your shorts, you hit your level, you get in, you get out, right? Today, you get in, you get out. Early, you get in, you get out, right? You get in, you get out. You get in, you get out. That's it. Same thing. Well, this was Friday, end of day. This was a little more easier because we had to hold into the close. But for the most part, you get in, you get out. And the same thing for the calls, right? As long as we're inside this range, there's not really much you can do. Now, we get this break over, like let's say it happens overnight, right? And we get back in between that 736.25 and 738 roughly. We'll just give it that 738, right? We get in here, we hold this, we start pushing up, right? Retest. Next level, 5 will probably be right here, right? So the upside might be a little limited. So like I said, if we gap up, right? If we do gap up, you still got to be a little careful going long because we're gonna need to get over that 5, right? And like I said, you can buy time. I went over it's like 7:45s for Thursday or something. If this does happen, so that way, just in case you do get smacked first, and it does hold, you still have time, right? And of course, remember, we're always trimming into the strength, right? We're always making sure that we're like, hey, we caught this move, I'm gonna take the money, right? I'm gonna take it and that's gonna be it, you know. So yeah, so the upside, like I said, we had the 5 right above. This will probably drop down maybe in here tomorrow, and then the 20 probably drop right here. So we're gonna still be inside this range that's getting right tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. But eventually, remember, uh, compression leads to expansion, right? Consolidation leads to expansion. It's not gonna stay compressed forever, right? It's not just gonna stay like this for the rest of the. It's not gonna do that, right? Just not. It's not how the market works. So eventually, right, one side will break. But as of now, if you zoom out to the 4 hour, right, or even the daily, we're not really, we're not really going nowhere for real, right? It seems like, oh man, we've been dumping, but look at this. We're not, look, let's draw a little fib, right? Even if you took a fib from absolute low and put it up to highs, look, we're not even at the 25% fib yet, right? Like we're not even, this isn't even close to being terrified region yet, So, bro, you gotta relax, right? Remember, this is controlled selling. Look how controlled this is. Look, controlled selling. So eventually, right, once one of these levels finally act as true support, right, and it might be after NVIDIA earnings, it might be, it might be before, who knows, we don't know. But we're just playing, according to the plan and the rules. So downside, of course, let's say we gap down, right? Let's say it doesn't work. Let's say, oh man, we're not going up, we're gonna go lower. Cool. Have a game plan for that too, right? So same rules apply. Let's say we gap down. If we gap down below low of day, it'll be an easy one, right? Because then at that point, all we got to do is watch for that 732 to 731 level. If we can't get back above that, we probably will just roll, right? Right to where our 728. And hopefully by tomorrow, this will be up to around here. So it'll be even better place to go long, right? Watch for a few traps, even if it does go a little lower, right? 724, I think will be, I don't think we're going to go too much. Like I said, I'm just a human being giving my, personal opinion. I've been doing this for a long time, so it is what it is. But you obviously have to do your own due diligence. But if we do go lower than 725, obviously then we obviously got the main fib right around that 720. But we'll handle that if it comes to that, right? Remember, level to level. That's all we care about, right? We don't care about what happens if we lose it. Like, nah, we got time, right? This is daily updates. I do these videos every single day, so you don't got to worry about if we do this and this. And I go live almost every other day too. So whatever happens, we'll catch it. But remember, we got this little breakout zone here, right? So if we do get back below, like I said, we'll use that same breakout zone as resistance. And then we'll come down to that 728, or really between that 730 to 728 level. And that's where I'm personally going to be watching for finally a reaction, right? We're going to be looking for some reaction. Obviously, I'm not saying it's going to be an instant reaction like we're going to tap it one time. I would prefer it, yes, absolutely. It'd be so much easier, right? It'd be so much easier to just tap the 20 and then just take off. But we haven't tested this 20 in a long time, right? We haven't bounced off the 20 in a long time. Last time we did bounce off the 20, we shot up like, what is this? Yeah, this is the last time we tapped that 20, right? When the 5 and the 20 were crossing. It's the last time we tapped it. And we'll test, bink, went right back up, right? So that's what we're looking for. It's going to be a true bull market, right? Remember, we don't know what's going to happen, so we can only use what we see in front of us. And what do we see in front of us? A bull market, right? A bull trend with a small pullback. That's all this is, right? Until proven otherwise, right? Now, let's say, in the future, like I said, the 5 comes down in the 20, and then the 5 crosses under, and then everything starts to curl back down. Then we'll play the rejection, right? And then we'll play it to the downside like that. But it has not happened yet, right? 5 is still decently far above, the 20. 20 still slowly grinding up, right? Showing bullishness. This is plateaued a little bit, right? Which is fine, which is why we're getting some, slow kind of, choppy action. It may seem choppy, but you can catch moves. You just got to be more patient with it. So, yeah. So basically, like I said, if we go downside, it's going to be pretty limited in my opinion, right? 728, 724. I don't think we'll go that much lower than that. And then upside, like I said, we get back above 736. Watch for that, right? Watch for that high. We get back above that. We still have this gap to close, though. So don't forget about that gap at 738. Yeah, 738 is that gap. So, yeah, definitely watch that. But the main, we have that huge gap above up here, right? The one where we went from 747 and then we opened up, or the high of day over here was like 743. So there's a nice gap up here as well. We got a gap here, and then we also have a gap down here too. Hold on. Where's that gap at? Yeah, see, we got this gap between here and here. So we do have, we do got some gaps. So be careful. We're in between two gaps. We're in between two zones. So all we're gonna do, because we're smack in the middle, we're just gonna, well, mighty slamming doors, the apartment complex. But yeah, so we're smacking between two zones. We're smacking between two gaps. So yeah, be aware of the gaps. Like I said, mark your gaps. Let's do that now so we can see where they are. Indicators. Go to regular trading hours. All right, let's mark these gaps real quick. We got close here, high there, right? So when I do gaps, I mark them from the close to the high. That's it. Now I don't do like, some people do like whatever that last wick was or something like that. Nah, I do exactly where where we closed at, right? Where did we close? The last print was right here, and the last touch was right there. So this is how I do gaps. This is how you should do gaps. I'm not saying that it doesn't work to be the other way, but it's just easier because this is the true gap. We closed right here, right? I know some people will put the gap up here, but we closed right here, right? So if you were to look at this on a very, very zoomed in 1 minute chart, where is the actual gap at, right? The actual gap would be right here. That is where we closed at, right? So yeah, some people do it up here. Like I said, have to each his own, but this is the gap. You know what I'm saying? This is the true gap. This is not a gap because you still have space down here. So yeah, in between two gaps. So watch that. And yeah, bro, we're not, like I said, we're not really doing much. So these are just days you play a little lighter. Not doing nothing too crazy. We still can gap down. That would be ideal, bro. If they just gap us down into the gap, feel it real quick, right? I'm talking about a quick little boom, little dump, get back above wherever the 20 is. Get back above it, you know what I'm saying? Break out, and then finally just get back up, right? That would be the most ideal, because then at that point, it'd be a nice little bear trap as well, right? You still have this little possible head and shoulders that you got, So if the neckline fails, right, all of this in here, if that neckline fails, we've seen this play out multiple times, right? We've seen head and shoulders have a nice little move, but then the neckline doesn't hold. It tries, and then it just goes up, right? And then it would go in hand with our bear trap theory, right? With the way we play bear traps. It's the same thing, right? See how it all lines up? Boom, trend up, trend up, trend up, trend up. A little pullback, sweep the swing, swing low, swing high, whatever. Bing, swing, take out the highs, right? So that's the thing we're looking for. Like I said, there's no reason to panic yet. We're not having a crazy red day, $20 dump. Like we don't have none of that. So I don't understand why people are still panicking and stuff. So you recognize the chop, the consolidation, you relax, right? You relax. Look. This shit is barely, this shit barely moving. You feel what I'm saying? So if we do gap up, we know the game plan. If we gap down, we know the game plan. So keep it simple. I'll be live again tomorrow. Don't freak out. Don't panic on me. You know what I'm saying? Don't panic. I hope y'all not panicking. And I hope y'all banking with me. I hope y'all, learning a thing or two on the channel. I hope y'all have at least tried to incorporate a lot of the stuff that I be saying on here, especially when it comes to like patience and stuff like that. Because that's your... what's the word? That is your main weapon in your arsenal when it comes to trading. Obviously, the levels and stuff, this is easy. This is the easy stuff. Anybody can just, we bounced. My little sister can tell you we bounced right here. You know what I'm saying? Bounce right here. Anybody can do that. But being patient enough to actually control your emotions, say, hey, I'm not going to take this trade. 1, because I feel like I'm forcing it. 2, I feel like I have FOMO. And 3, I feel like I'm revenge. You know what I'm saying? You have to be honest with yourself when you have these emotions and just kind of check them, right? Put them in check. It'll make you a better person as well, too, right? Being patient is never a bad thing. But my shoulder hurts, bro. I've been hooping, bro. My pain, bro. But, yeah, man. So just keep it simple. We'll be back tomorrow. Keep making some bread. And, yeah, I'll see y'all. Peace.